Welcome back to another Mondays with Micah. We are back into interviewing widows, and I have a very special guest that I think a lot of you may know, and it is one of my neighbors. This is Gaynelle Riddick. Can you say hello to
everybody,
all the viewers? And I got to see her recently because they asked me to speak at the Rotary, and she is a Rotary member.
That's right.
And so I said, I know you have stories, and I have not gotten to you yet. And so I am here in her home, and she's actually one of my neighbors. And so I walk by her house every single day and have not been in this house. So I don't know if I'm a very good neighbor, actually, but we're going to move on from my shortcomings, and we're going to get into who Gaynelle is, and how she became a widow, and some of the things that she has done after in her life to continue moving forward in her life. So without further ado, that is my intro. Welcome, Gaynelle.
And welcome to my home.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I sell real estate, as you heard.
Yes.
And so me walking into people's homes that I haven't been in is a joy of mine to see another home that I have not been in before. It is a ranch home, which Franklin is known for, ranch style homes. That is the most homes we have in the city of Franklin are ranch style homes.
Built in 1965.
1965. So, and she told me that her and her husband were married for 58 years.
Right.
Where did you meet?
I met right after I graduated from college.
In what state?
Right here in Franklin.
Oh, okay.
And we needed a fourth to play bridge, and he was the fourth.
Really? So you met card playing?
That's exactly right. I am a card player.
Okay. What is your preferred game?
Everything.
Okay.
I don't care.
Okay.
As long as you can deal cards.
You
I like
play
to
it. So you play bridge?
I play anything.
Are you in a group now?
No, and I miss it terribly. So if there's anybody out there that needs a substitute, I'm available.
Good to know.
But you have to come and get me. That's the only problem. Because I don't drive anymore.
Okay.
Because, shall I tell them
Yes.
that I'm 91 at the moment. I'm still going and doing. I don't see well and I don't hear well. I can still see the cards though.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see well, don't hear well. But I think my mind's okay.
It is exactly well. And for you to be 91 and still have your mind is a blessing.
And I still walk, and I don't have to have a cane.
Amazing.
But I do have oxygen. That's my only thing.
Okay. So when you met him, and did you say you were 18?
Oh no, I just finished college. I was 21.
21. Okay. And how long did y'all date?
2 years. And we were married, and I went to Norfolk to teach American history and geography at Northview High School. And then we married the fall of, I went in 55 to teach at Norfolk, and we married in 57.
Excellent.
So I've been here, but I was born and raised here.
Okay.
So I'm 91 years a Franklin person.
So she's a Franklinite, born and bred, as they say. Born and bred. And I was from Southampton County, so I have only been in a city resident for 21 years here.
When I grew up, I was out in the Forks of the River,
okay,
which is about 5 miles out of town. So, but Franklin was it.
Yeah.
I went to Franklin High School and
all the things.
And
how many children did y'all have together?
Bill and I have 2 sons, Bill and Tom.
Okay.
And they are 66 and 64 now.
Okay, 2 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
And how many grandchildren?
I have 6 grandchildren, 5 boys and 1 girl, and I have 6 great-grandchildren.
Excellent. So the boy trend kind of kept going.
It goes, yeah.
Very strong. Okay, so you were a teacher for how many years?
I taught 24 years, and then um, Bill was a twin brother, um, Bob Riddick and Bob and Judy, and Bill and I started the Peanut Patch in Cortland
Okay.
in 1973, and I did that part-time as I taught. And then in 1982, I didn't retire. I just quit teaching because Bill and Tom both weren't there to go to school with me anymore. They were off in college. And I went full-time with Peanut Patch.
Wow.
And stayed there until 1986 when I went on the road, and then I did motor coach trips across the country and cruises, and for 29 years I took thousands of people all over the world.
And what was the name of that back then?
Royal Tours.
The Royal Tours. And was that for seniors?
It was for anybody. I did one time I took grandchildren, parents, grandparents, and I took 4 buses to New York City to see Lion King, the Christmas show with the Rockettes, and to visit Ground Zero, this not in '01 but in '02.
Wow.
Because I thought it was important that those people
Saw it. Wow.
So, so see, I would take 4 buses or 3
Wow.
buses or whatever.
And now what put this adventure inside of you to be willing to go all over the country?
I started out when I was teaching, taking kids on field trips.
Yes.
They had to go to Richmond.
Mm-hmm.
That was very important. And then I ventured out to Washington, and then we started camping when the boys were small, and we went into New England, and wow, that was just wonderful. And I don't know,
It just kept spreading out. You kept spreading out.
Going. And I have crossed the country 4 or 5 times.
Wow.
I've crossed Canada twice.
So
from one end to the other.
did you have like an RV?
No. I'm talking
With
about
the
when
tours.
I was the tour company.
Okay.
I did Alaska
Wow.
14 times.
14
Hawaii
times.
5, Australia, New Zealand.
You've been to Australia?
Twice
Oh
in New
my
Zealand. I've done all of Europe, a goodly part of Europe.
What's your favorite? Where did you enjoy? Because I haven't been to anywhere in the European countries. That's a bucket list for me.
Well, Italy is wonderful. The history there. But England and Scotland, Ireland.
Do you have any family history there?
Not really. My family came from Wales. I know
Okay.
that. That's all. But I don't know. Just go see the world.
Well, being a history teacher, I would think that that's kind of deep in your roots.
Well, I think the reason I did so well was that my people enjoyed my stories.
Learning.
They were at the point where it was just pure fun.
So you were the tour guide.
I was the tour guide. I did it all. I planned the tours, thought about where we're going,
Yes.
planned it all, and I didn't have a computer in that day and time.
My God.
Didn't have a cell phone, but I planned everything, and they signed up to go with me, and off we went. And I was never, ever afraid to leave here with 40 people and take them on a 32-day trip. It didn't scare me one bit. And now I look back and think,
How did
Gaynelle, you must have been crazy to do that. I had 2 to die on my trips, and that was not good. One in the Greek Isles, and I took his body off the cruise ship in Istanbul, Turkey, and they don't speak English, and I don't speak Turkish, and that was traumatic. And then I had one to die on the way back from Europe.
From
We
like a
died-
heart attack?
He died at Atlanta airport.
Wow.
So that part, but I handled it.
Yes.
And I look back now and think, oh, golly, what was I made of?
That's what I want to
I'm
know.
not made of that now.
You're not.
But then,
You had it when you needed it.
but I loved teaching school. It was just wonderful. And Wednesday, I had just the best experience I've had in years, I went back to Southampton Academy and I told a story to the 4th through the 8th graders. They were so attentive and so wonderful.
Awesome.
And I got to just look at their little faces and tell a story again, and I could go every day.
Wow. I mean, there is something about a teacher. My mother is 75, and she has been teaching since she was in her 20s. And she's obviously retired now, but she still volunteers. You can't keep these teachers away from these kids.
That's exactly right, because those kids are so wonderful.
They just love them, and they fill her love tank more than us, really.
Exactly.
Really.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not taking that personal, but we see her light up when she's with these kids.
And now these kids that I was talking to yesterday, many of them are grandchildren of my students that I taught in the 5th grade.
Wow. Now,
I'm old.
Now, I have been a patron of the Peanut Patch for years now, and the name changed to Farides. Can you tell a little bit about that?
There was another company in the country that had the name Peanut Patch.
Okay.
And they were worried about problems there, and so they were told to change the name. And they did all kinds of names, and finally nothing would be approved. And finally they came up with the Farides, which is a portion of Jane, Judy, and Alice's names, last names.
Okay, so they took like a piece and then
Riddick, R-I-D is the Riddick, I-E-S.
Okay, all right.
That's how that came about.
That's
But I
clever.
was not there then. I was out on the road at that point.
Wow.
So
wow.
I had sold my interest in 1986 when I went on the road.
Wow. Wow.
I went on the road with first I would give credit to Jeannie Council.
Yes, ma'am.
Who, bless her heart, believed in me and gave me that first trip to New England.
Wow. So you were gifted a trip, and that sparked you.
I went as I had taught her daughter, and I had said to her, if you ever do anything, they had orthodox travel in Franklin, and she had started a bus trips, and I said, if you ever do anything that I know anything about, give me a call. I'd love to do that.
Wow.
And lo and behold, I was put on the New England trip. I didn't even know it. And somebody came in the Peanut Patch and said, I think it's wonderful you're going to be our tour guide for New England. And I said, I don't know anything about it.
And yet you went.
I called the office and they said, has Jeannie not asked you? And I said, no.
Oh my God.
But that was wonderful.
And that's how you got the bug.
Oh, good gracious, I got the bug.
Oh my goodness. And I
For
mean,
29 years I had the bug.
Wow. Wow, that is so awesome.
I could still do it if I could.
Physically do it. Well, so with my real estate, when I worked with military families, because I'm a foodie, if you've heard that term before,
Yes.
that means we love food.
Yes.
And food feels like love to us. And all my most memorable childhood memories were gatherings. And whether it was 4th of July, that was the big one in my family. We had Christmas and all of that, but where the extended family came together was on the 4th of July. But so I would ask them, where was some of the best food? And they would say Germany. They would say the bakeries in those places, the baked goods. What was some of your favorite food in the different places?
Isn't that funny? As you're talking,
You don't remember?
food doesn't stand out at all.
That is
Wait
fascinating.
a minute. Yes. The lobster on the Maine coast.
Of course. Of course.
Yes. Now that stands out.
Yes.
The rest of it, I'm
Well-
obviously not a foodie, but I like food. But
Yes,
I think it was the beauty of the land and
Yes, the history.
the history.
Yes.
I love the history.
Yes. So that's fascinating. I have a lobster memory
Gracious.
from my aunt and uncle on my mom's side were orchestra public school teachers. So they taught the orchestra
Wow.
in the strings department in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh area.
Wow.
And they took their, I think it was middle school, to be honest, because I was only 13 or 14. So it may have been high school, but they didn't all seem that old, but they may have been older than me. I can't recall that. But they took a trip to Hawaii with their orchestra because they got to play. And with the group rate, they asked me about going with my cousin, and so I asked my grandmother, Mary Futrell, if she wanted to go, and she was going to be my chaperone, and so we went. And I was 13 or 14.
I was going to say, how old?
14, I think. And we ended up flying into, I don't think it was the main island, the next one.
Oahu's the main island.
I think it was Honolulu.
That is
in Oahu. And so, thank you.
Oahu. Yeah.
Anyway, we did all the things. We did a luau. We went to Maui and took a Jeep and drove around Maui and did some things.
Did you do the Arizona Memorial?
I think so. We saw the Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, the Pearl Harbor.
Yes, ma'am. We did do that.
Oh.
But we did eat at a restaurant that you could look at the ocean. Mm-hmm. And we got a lobster. And since then, I have been trying to find a lobster that was as good as that lobster. And I haven't had it.
You've got to go to Maine.
I've heard that. And my in-laws, my mother-in-law, her parents were from Maine. So she's had Maine lobster many times. I have not had a Maine lobster, to be honest. But it's on my list. It's on my list.
That's a goodie.
So that's an interesting, again, y'all, the interest of what you're interested in. I'm not saying I want to see the sights, but it's more about experiencing the food with the sights would be why I'm going versus understanding the history per se, maybe. I have seen some pictures of Barcelona and things like that, and it looked pretty amazing. Did you go on a gondola ride? Did you do any?
Oh yeah, I've done a gondola ride. Anything
about?
I've done a hot air balloon. If you could do it,
you did it. Yes, adventure.
I did not do a. In Australia, we had an opportunity to do a. What do you call it? A bungee.
Oh my!
Off of a bridge, and I said no to that. But other than that, I didn't say no to much.
Did your husband go on all these trips?
When he had retired early, and he got to go whenever he wanted to go. If he'd gone 3 or 4 times, his 5th time to Alaska, he was tired of going to Alaska.
For sure.
So,
and did you see the whales?
Oh yes, many times. Never got tired of going to Alaska.
For sure.
So
I've heard that.
Beautiful.
I've heard that too.
Absolutely beautiful.
Wow.
Just never got tired of going anywhere.
That's beautiful.
One year I was gone 165 days on the road.
On the road.
I did probably 42 cruises in my lifetime. I know all about cruising. Huh.
I've only been on one cruise.
Well, I've been on more than I can count.
Wow.
And they were all just fun, great. And I could play cards on that too.
Sure you could. Wow.
Love to do that.
So, man, so you were both retired when you started this?
He retired after I got into the travel business.
Okay.
But
you stopped teaching fully.
Oh, I stopped teaching in 82, and I got the travel business in 86.
Okay. But you helped with Peanut Patch until
86.
Okay.
From 73 to 86.
73 to 86. So that's when the Peanut Patch was founded.
In 73, right.
Okay. That was the year my husband was born. Yeah, 73. And so wow.
So he would be how old now? What's 73?
Well, I would say 52.
Okay.
52.
Yeah, that's about right, because it's celebrated 50 years ago. 50th anniversary a couple years ago.
Yeah,
right.
Amazing. And it's interesting. So my dad was a farmer for over 30 years, and his dad was a farmer. And then the I don't know, when he was in his 50s, which is 20 some years ago now, the the market changed and the sales of peanuts, I think, or something. And so he ended up going into the prison and started doing the agriculture there.
Oh, okay.
So he got out of the farming business, but was still in agriculture with the dairy cows there. And then he did those hydroponic.
Oh, how interesting.
They have those at the Deerfield. Anyway, we have so much history here with the peanuts.
Oh, absolutely.
Can you speak to the listeners about any of that?
About the history of the peanut?
Like the farmer, how rich are, like within Southampton County, we've got peanuts going all over the world.
That's right. Until we started the peanuts in 1970, peanut patch in 73, there was hardly anywhere that you could buy peanuts on the road.
Okay.
Now you can do great things. Of course, the Hubbard Peanut Company had started the little bags of hubs, and they were started, but we were next in theirs were in certain stores, but you just could drive along the highway and stop at any place and
get them.
I mean, they weren't shops along the highway, but now they are. So that's great. The peanut that's a big piece of this county, for sure.
Yes.
And the peanut came into its own. Well, it actually came into its own during the Civil War, if you want to know the truth.
Yes.
Because when the Northern soldiers came south, peanuts were grown as not in great fields, but almost as in gardens.
Okay.
And that was good food. And when the war was over, that cry was send more peanuts up this way, or they wanted them. Interesting story about peanuts.
Yes.
It's when we first opened the peanut patch, and a man and his daughter came in one day, and I had a package of salted in the shell peanuts opened on the counter, and I offered them a sample, and the little girl took one. She's a little 10-year-old. She took it and she chomped down on that thing, and I said, "Oh, honey, you don't eat the shell." And he said, "Why not?" And I said, "Because you shelled them. You don't eat that. That shell is so rough." And he said, "We always eat the shell." I said, "Where are you from?" And he said, "I think it was Minnesota or Michigan or somewhere." I said, "Sir, you shell that. Let me give you some peanuts that are really good." So I opened a bag of really, at that time, we had Hope's peanuts, and I opened the bag and I said, "Now there's a real peanut." And so he ate those and thought, that's pretty good. So we bought a bag of those. But he said, "I'll go back and still tell those folks that it's still okay to eat that raw peanut, that peanut shell." He had me eat my first raw shell, my peanut shell. I can tell you, folks, don't try. It's like eating a piece of wood.
Right.
Almost a soft piece of wood.
Now,
it's terrible.
I'll tell you, the first time I had a boiled peanut was actually in Florida.
I like them.
I will say in this town, I know they have them now, but I didn't hear a lot about the boiled peanut. I heard about the roasted peanut, or you would eat raw. Some people like the one right out of the shell. That has a different texture and taste. Then you have the roasted, where they put them on a sheet pan in the oven,
right,
and they get kind of brown, and you eat them that way. I had a lady who was in our church. She's passed now, but at Christmas time, she would make roasted chocolate-covered clusters, and no one else has matched it, ma'am. So my memories go back to the chocolate-covered peanut, and I will tell you that the chocolate-covered peanut and Farides was the one that I would gift to people because they were some of my favorite.
Delicious.
Because it was a hard chocolate on it, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
There's others that have more of a soft chocolate,
it was a hard
but that was too much chocolate for me. I liked the hard.
That was called a single dip.
Okay, single dip.
Back to something you said earlier.
Yes, ma'am.
About you talked about your family.
Yes.
Having lived here for 91 years. I this my family is very special and it's very unusual, and I'd like to tell you about that.
We want some history. Yes, we do.
Well, this is an interesting story. My mother died in 1975 in July. The Christmas before that, we had always gathered at my older brother's house. Dr. Edwards, the dentist, was my brother. And we gathered there, and we'd always exchange gifts, and we just had such a wonderful meal together, and it was fun. And my mother said, this is so nice. She said, I hope you all will always continue to do this. Keep this family
Together.
going. Keep it together. And so that's been our goal.
Wow.
And we have kept 7 children. There were 7 of us. And we've kept 7 children. And we had 13 children between us. And they're all their families. And they're all their little ones. And today
4 generations.
We have over 100 people. And we gather every other year for a weekend. We just had one in August.
Where can you gather that many people?
We come to Franklin, and then we go to the Bronco Club, which is, we go down on Friday, and we're there Friday, and then all day Saturday, and a good part of Sunday. And those kids just love being in that river and just eating and cornhole tournaments and just being
So
together.
who is the point person that's you're still the gatherer?
Well, right now I'm the matriarch.
Yes.
I've lost my older 2 brothers and my older sister. Jennifer Stevenson lives here. She's my niece, daughter of my older sister, and she's a wonderful one to help gather. And then my brother's still here.
Helps.
And then I have that's Frankie Edwards.
So who's going to be your successor?
Well, I hope it's all these
Did you
12. These 12 that are still.
Wow.
They tell me that they will never let it die.
Well.
And I know they won't because, well, do you see that picture up there?
Yes.
Isn't that wonderful?
I do see that.
See, we all gather.
I'm going to get it for y'all to see it.
We all have we wear colors to distinguish our family. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? That's 90-some in that picture. And we put those colors on.
When was this taken?
That was 2 years ago. I haven't had the one from this year done yet. I haven't gotten that one on board.
Wow.
But that's something that's very special to me is my Edwards family. Of course, my Riddick family is very special, but we're kind of small.
Now, when I just looked at that, you know my niece is in that picture.
Who is your niece?
Emily Balance. She's marrying...
That's your niece?
That's my niece.
She's marrying Jack.
Yes.
How about that? And that's your niece? All right, tell me how she's your niece.
Because her mother and my late husband were brother and sister.
Her mother is a Dillon?
Yes. But she's a Balance. She's been a Balance since she was 18. But she was a Dillon first.
Well, she's just precious, and she's got a precious...
Yes, she does.
Oh, my.
So we had a big engagement.
How did you spot that? Did you just spot her in that?
I did. I just looked at it. I looked at it, and then she stood out. So, see, I needed to see this picture. Now we have a connection we didn't even know. Were you at the engagement party?
No. Mm-hmm. But Jack comes to us through his mother.
Yes.
He married my nephew.
Okay. So, see, this is where it gets to be a small world, y'all.
It is.
Oh,
my gosh, it's a small world.
We are connected more than we even knew. That's kind of twice anyway. So
it's such a small world.
Yes, and when you're in a small town, we're gonna connect or be married somewhere in that lineage.
And I would like to tell folks, and I've stressed this to many.
Yes, please.
That you, if there's something you want, don't be afraid to ask for it.
Love this.
There are 2 answers that people can give you: yes or no. There might be a maybe in there, but I don't listen to that. I want a yes or I want a no. And so all those years that I traveled, I would ask if I wanted to do it. It didn't take much get up and go for me to go ask to do it. And they were so shocked that I asked that they said yes. But one of my favorite ones is that, and that I think is just unbelievable, and nobody believes this, but it's the truth. This was when I was teaching at the academy. I took a group of, I think they were seniors at that point, to the academy to Washington, and you always take them to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and we will watch that. And I said to my folks, stand still, don't move after this is over. And I followed the guard that had just been exchanged, coming off duty, and he went down to that underneath the amphitheater where they live or stay for the 24-hour period. And I said, excuse me, sir, I have a group of high school seniors. Could we ask you some questions? And he said, look, I don't know. And he went and said, I'll be right back. And he went in and he came back. And when he did, he brought a guy with him. And that guy said, how many do you have? And I said, I think there was 22 of us. And he said, don't do anything major, just walk quietly over here and come down the steps. And so I went and got him, and I said, we're going to speak to that guard. And we got there, and the first question that one of my boys asked was, what does it mean to you to guard the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier? And that guy said the most beautiful things. And then the second child said, ask another question similar. And his officer above him looked at me and said, how many students do you have? And I said, 22. He said, would you like to come inside and watch us get this next guard ready to go? And I said, yes, sir. And I thought, oh my God. And we went down and we watched them, and that's the most incredible thing. And you can go on YouTube and watch it. And we watched it, and I think we're probably one of the only, maybe, one of the very few schools in this country, very few groups ever, to go down and watch them get a guy ready to go out. And it takes him 30 minutes to get him ready to go. It was just fascinating.
All because of a question.
All because I dared to ask.
Wow. That's awesome.
And I dared to ask all over this world where I traveled, and it was just amazing what people would do for you.
I dared to ask.
So
that
ask.
is the title of this episode. It has to be, because that is a beautiful
ask.
So let's get into a little bit of, as with your widow walk story of your own. This is such a wealth that you have of the stories of life. You have lived so much life and are still living life, and you can hear the enthusiasm in her inflections when she's telling these stories, which is just inspiring to and this is why I have to hunt these people down. I have to hunt these people down because I know that there's such caliber people walking the earth, and that we are in a season in our world that is so busy that we're not stopping to really connect in this way as much, especially the younger to the older generation. Mm-hmm. The value, and so I'm so thankful you brought up how your mother had really put a challenge out to you, and you took that so seriously that you have taken it. And if she would have known that you would have taken it now 4 to 5 generations, I mean, she's smiling in heaven because of this.
All the time.
And so, because to fight for your family is under attack right now.
You're right.
The family is under attack.
Very much so.
And as mothers, we have a major role in that position to uphold the family unit and to step in for our husbands. Do you have any stories where your husband was dealing with something and you really stepped up to the plate? In business, I mean, were you?
No. Bill worked in the office at Union Camp.
Okay.
He was low key.
Yeah.
Loved life. Loved to play golf. Loved his children. Loved traveling with me.
That's awesome.
And he died in 2015, and I still traveling. I still going.
Exactly.
Um,
There were some things inside you. So how
but
did
after that,
yeah.
I sold my business then, and that was interesting. I sold it to a girl that I had taught in the 5th grade.
So you sold your traveling business.
I prayed a long time for God to send me somebody that could take my business because it was a good one.
Yes.
And I didn't want anybody to mess it up. And I pretty much, I had a huge following.
Right.
So much so that I did 2 mystery trips every year, spring and the fall. And you had to get on it. You had to sign up way ahead of time from one to the other.
And they don't know where they're going.
They have no idea where they're going, and they pay their money and not know one thing. And they were the best. They were so bad.
Did you tell them what climate?
Oh, I would tell them what they needed to carry.
Yes.
I mean, what they needed to
like
wear.
hot or cold.
If they needed a coat and tie, or, a dress.
Wow.
Or whatever they needed.
Man.
But they had no idea where they were
Wow.
going. And they wouldn't know from one day to the next.
Oh my gosh.
So
and they trusted you that much.
Absolutely. They were the most popular trips I did.
I have to believe it. For those who want to be
They
spontaneous.
would stand in line. And the waiting list for a mystery trip was always long.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so people just believe.
Now, would you get people all over Hampton Roads?
Oh, yeah.
How did you network?
Because I didn't. It was word of mouth.
Wow.
It was just word of mouth. I was in Norfolk one day, and that's when they had big, like Rice's and Smith and Wilton, those big short stores. And I was in the ladies' department, and these 2 ladies were talking, and one of them was buying clothes to go on an Alaska cruise, and the other lady said, how do you know about things like that? I would like to do that. And she said, well, I go with Gaynelle out of Franklin, Virginia. And I heard that, and I went over there and I said, hello, I'm Gaynelle. She had not ever met me, but she had signed up to go on my trip. So I ended up with her, and then this lady became a traveler as well. So my little thing from then on was, go with Gaynelle.
Go with Gaynelle. Oh my God.
That's my email today.
It is.
Oh yeah.
Go with Gaynelle. Oh my gosh, I love that.
That's how I forgave my daddy for giving me such a horrible name, because I hated the name Gaynelle. Oh, that was not so good.
In your younger years.
But now I love
it's
it.
unique.
Yeah,
I don't know another Gaynelle.
Well, people hear it and they'll hear about somebody say Gaynelle, and they'll come and say, are you Gaynelle? And I say, yeah.
You're famous.
Well, see, they've heard, well, I'm not famous, but people have heard of me because so many people travel with me.
You.
And so many students, I had so many students.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I've been so fortunate to have touched
this many
to have had
lives.
so many lives that I've touched, and they have touched me.
Wow.
And I don't forget them either.
And that and that shows. I mean, that's apparent that these people, so I would say, you have an outgoing personality, and were you just fearless as a young child?
I was fearless. I look back now and think, I don't believe I did that. Why did I not quit? I wanted to do an African safari, and that was in the plans. But after having to deal with the death in the Greek Isles and being so far away from home, although that was another story too. That was a God story. All of my stories are God stories. Without him, I could never have done anything.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about your faith story?
My faith's incredible. And on my very first trip, that one that went to New England, that I just was put aboard, I had a lady that fell and broke her knee, and I had another lady that fell and messed up her face, and I had to take her to the New England Medical Center in Boston. And here I am, a long way from home. My trip is gone, my bus is gone on because the tour goes on, and I'm stuck with this lady in the hospital in Boston. But I get out, they put us on the bus, and we catch up with my group in Maine. Lo and behold, I lost my train of thought.
The lady fell. You had to go to the hospital.
All right. So the next month, a lot of crying, a lot of tears, but I stayed. Didn't let her know that I cried. I got back to my group that night with her, and the next morning we got on the bus, and I was so glad to see those people. I didn't know what to do, and this guy, he was a guy. Union Camp at the time. He was just a super great fellow. And he said, Gaynelle, give me your phone, your mic. And I handed it to him, and he said, ladies and gentlemen, it's so good to have Gaynelle and Ruby back. He said, let's pray. And he prayed the prettiest prayer. And that day, from then on, I never ever rolled out
without
not
praying.
One day that I didn't say, ladies and gentlemen, let us pray. And I always prayed.
I mean, chills.
And a man said to me one day, do you ever get anybody that's sick that complains about your prayers? And I said, I really haven't ever had anybody, but if I did, I can show him how to not come on this trip anymore.
Woo!
So I did that, and they were so appreciative of that.
Wow.
And when we were out on Sundays, I would take them to churches. We've been to a little church in New England, a little one in Vermont. Oh, it was a little church, and I said, oh, buddy, stop. And I went in there. It was just one of those little white churches with green shutters, a little steeple, and it was like the few cars there. And I said, I went in and I spoke to a guy who came to the door. He came
usher.
to the vestibule, the usher, and I told him I had 38 people or whatever, and could we come in? And he said, certainly. And he said, we've already started. I said, well, can we be real quiet and come in and worship with you? And he said, I won't be able to stay very long. And he said, so I went back out there, and Buddy had already told him to get ready because he knew we were going in.
That's right.
He knew me that well that they were not going to say no to me.
That's right.
There was another case, and no, don't say no. Don't fail to ask. So we went in, and we were far more people than they had in the congregation, in the choir, and whatever. And the minister said, "Oh, welcome," and that usher had me write my name and on where I was from, and he gave it to the minister, and the minister said, "We have a group from Franklin, Virginia, and they would like to sing for us." I said, no. I said I wanted to just sing a hymn with them and have a prayer because we needed to be on our way.
Right.
I didn't say I want to sing for them. So we all laughed, and he said, well, you'd like to sing a hymn? I said, yes, sir, that's what we'd like to do. He said, what would you like to sing? And, well, I'm a Methodist, so the quote Methodist hymn was Holy, Holy, Holy. So we all sang Holy, Holy, Holy. He prayed for us, and we went on our way.
Oh, my God.
So you just go to church and...
She stopped what was going on.
I stopped what was going on, but that's okay.
Yes, you brought life to that place that day.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. When we got back to the bus, one of my guys said, Gaynelle, we need to take up an offering. He turned his hat over, and we took up over $200, and he went back in there and presented it to that church.
Woo! I'm telling you, I got chills from these stories, folks. I'm telling you.
That's the kind of...
adventures you took these people on. Wow. Wow. I mean, like, where's the confetti? We can just throw. Wow. I mean, and you didn't plan that, but when the church spoke to you, when you saw how cute it was, and you said, we're going to stop right now.
We just got, what I'd always heard, that those little New England churches were just so sweet. I wanted to go in one.
Wow.
Well, let's go in.
Staying curious.
Don't hesitate to
ask.
They can either, you know, that usher could have said, I'm sorry, we've already started.
Right?
But he didn't.
Wow.
And look what
the human experience.
Look what happened.
So
for them and for us.
For you. They were blessed. Everyone was blessed.
And they got a nice donation.
Offering.
Yes, a nice offering.
Wow.
That was just, I don't know, I could tell you thousands of stories.
Look, if y'all, note to self, if you want more stories from Gaynelle, you got to comment below, because I am so happy to come back and continue the conversation, because she's 91, y'all. And at this rate, she may make it to 101.
No, I don't think so.
She doesn't think
I don't even, what if my mind stays good? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, look, we can believe for that, because if she's still telling this clear of a story, then God can work on keeping her body here, because there's people who still need you here.
Well, I do have things to say, and that, you know, I just want to encourage people to, my daughter-in-law, Nancy, she says she's learned from me. She said, oh, gee, I'm not afraid to ask anybody anything. Mm-hmm. She said, I just learned from you that it's
confidence.
Okay.
That's it.
And then, you know, so what if they tell you to say no?
Well, I think a lot of people feel embarrassed or something.
It's okay. But I didn't ever have a minute to say no, so I don't really know what it's...
Right.
Really
she hasn't had the rejection.
I really didn't. I think that some of them... Oh, let me tell you one.
Yes.
We were in Canada, and we were going up a highway in Alberta, and we had seen, just before we got into the mountains, we'd seen all this yellow, in these fields of yellow something. And I kept thinking, what is it? I mean, we just didn't know. And I saw this beautiful farmhouse over here on the right-hand side. Went on down. And I said, yeah, those yellow fields were all around there. And I said, buddy, just turn around. I want to go back there to that farmhouse. He said, you do what? I said, I want to go back to that farmhouse. So we turned around. He'd do anything I asked him. Went back and drove up in their driveway, and this lady came out, and I opened the door. We opened the door, and I stepped out, and I said, I have a group from Virginia, North Carolina, and we are fascinated with all of this yellow plant. Will you come aboard and talk to my folks and tell us what it is? Well, she told us all about farming. That stuff is rape. That's the name of that plant. Okay.
Wow.
Anyway, we learned all about that. She told us all about farming. She said it was July the 1st, and that's Canada Day. And she was getting ready to go to a
parade? Yeah, okay.
Like we do a 4th of July picnic. She was getting ready to go to a picnic, and she was so excited. And I gave her 2 pounds. Then I had Hub's peanuts. I gave her 2 pounds of Hub's peanuts, and she was thrilled to death. And she could hardly wait to go tell the people the experience she'd had. A busload of folks to come and find out what is this plant that grows up.
And then I can just her telling the story, you can envision this random, here you're in this farmhouse, living your life. It's just a basic day. And then a tour bus, drives into your driveway, which makes absolutely no sense. Those go to important places, to concerts, to museums or something. And this is just a farmhouse. And yet, she said, hey, we appreciate what you have in your yard. Would you like to tell us how you've stewarded this and kept this, and what is it? Because we're curious. These history people, they want to know stuff.
And we did the same thing in Iowa, where the farms are so huge. Just huge. And so I found a farmer there. But I found him ahead of time through the Chamber of Commerce in a town. And I contacted him and said, could we come and see your, I've forgotten how many 100-acre farm he had. And he got aboard and took us all around and told us what it was like to leave home in the morning and not come back till late in the evening, and what you take with you and how many miles you go to plant corn, whatever it was. That was it. You don't find that in the museums.
No, you don't. It's the first-hand account. You're getting the first-hand accounts, the people. You're not hearing it through the grapevine of the story or even reading those books, which is someone's story. You're getting the real life story in the present time. Now, something's coming to my mind, and you may be able to speak into this, but I feel like we're being on the board of the chamber and things like this, and I've said this more than once, but that, you get on these different boards and the finances always seem tight. There's not a lot to go around. And so then when you have boards that are giving grant, like the United Way, you're sitting there and you're like, okay, this is how much is asked. This is how much we have. They're not matching up. But we live in a town that is so eclectic, and because of the paper mill and just the history of people coming from different places, and now you're telling me all these trips and things like that. Can you speak into just the ingenuity of entrepreneurs and just starting things and how it's grown to provide for your family and build a legacy? Can you speak anything about legacy? Does that make sense what I'm saying? Like, your farmers, they have to evolve. Like, you've had multiple lives. You're telling me you were a teacher, then you owned a peanut business, then you had a traveling business.
And worked till I was 80 something.
Like, what gave you the tenacity to continue to evolve? Where I know some people, they worked 30 years at the mill and never did anything else.
That's right. It's so sad. So sad because I think, like my husband, he retired way too early. I think people are retiring too early unless they can find something to do that's worthwhile afterwards. I started in the travel business when I was 52. A lot of people are looking forward to retiring when they get to 52.
That's right.
I had look what I did for 29 years.
Well, I told my father-in-law this before he passed. I said, look, you're not retiring, you're refiring.
That's a great
You're refiring. It's time to, your pivot, it's a pivot, because what you were known for was this, but then you flipped into something else. But not everybody knows how to do that.
How old is he?
My father-in-law, he passed this year, Pastor David Dillon.
That's right, he did.
Yes, he was 73.
Yes, and that's young. Ooh,
yes.
That's really young.
Yes.
Yeah, I forgot he passed.
And that was sudden. So what can you say? I mean, you said so much, but like what...
I talk so much.
No, this is so phenomenal and exciting. These stories feel so exciting. But you've kind of given some encouragement to people, regardless if they were a widow or not. But when you became a widow, nothing stopped.
Nothing stopped. Bill would not have wanted me to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, excuse me. Yeah, I stopped because in 14 I had open heart surgery.
Okay.
So I didn't really do maybe with Donna. Maybe once or twice I went out after that.
Okay.
But then I sold my business after Bill died.
And how did the Lord bring this new person?
That's a great story. I started to tell you that. I asked God to please send me somebody. And I thought about people. Who's going to take my place? Who's going to take my business? And so I went to a concert at Southampton High School. And normally... I wouldn't have sat that close up front, but there was a pianist in the group, and I like to see the hands, so I went to the left side rather than the right side of the auditorium, and I went on down and I got to the third row from the front, and I saw Leon DeShields, a man I knew, and he was several seats in, and I said, Leon, is that seat beside you taken? He said, nope, you can have you for just for you. So I went over and Bill and I sat down. And I said to him, how is Donna? I had taught his little girl in the 5th grade. I hadn't seen her since. I said, how is Donna? And where is she? And he said, she's right there. And she was up talking to somebody. Long story short, we introduced ourselves again, and she told me that she is a retired principal from Newport News or somewhere, and she and her husband were both educators and had just retired, and she had told her mother she wanted to get in the travel business, but she told her, don't do that because Gaynelle's got it sewed up in this area. And she said, I really wanted to do that. I said, are you really interested in traveling? And she said, I really wanted to be in the travel business. And I said, could we have lunch? Mm. And did you ever hear of God at Work? And she went with me. I took her on several trips, and we just had the best time. And I said, there's certain things you have to do. And one of them is you better pray every day. Wow. And she does that because she believes just like I do. And I do believe I would not have gone out ever before I asked God to be with me.
Wow.
And he was with me, with us, every mile of the way. Because there were some times when things got tight, but it all worked out. I never had, and I mean, you know, I've had folks out there that had heart attacks and a broken hip, and I mean, I was all that many people for that many years. You're bound to have something.
Yes.
But I just dealt with it. Wow. And my drivers were always just so great. I had one for 14 years that was just like
a family member.
He stayed here. He stayed. There's driveway out there is all that asphalt.
Yeah.
That's because
he slept out
brought
there.
that bus in here, and his room was back there.
Wow.
Bill just loved Buddy. They were just big buddies.
Wow.
So it's just I've had a wonderful life. As my children say, my boys, Mom, you've had an amazing life.
It's phenomenal.
I've seen the world. I've been across this country, I think 4 or 5 times. I went across Canada on the train in the winter. I would just think of all these things I wanted to do. I wanted to see the Rose Bowl parade, so we flew out there. And Buddy met us out there with that bus and brought us home. There's things I wanted to do, and I would plan the trip, and guess what?
It happened.
People said, yeah, we'd like to do that too. I canceled very, very few trips that I ever did.
And the Lord kept you healthy to do all this.
I did. I only, in all of that, I only missed 1 trip from sickness.
Wow. Wow. And no one gave you a handbook of how to do it. The good Lord did it. Well, we are 58 minutes in, Gaynelle.
Oh, I thought we were going to be a 30 minutes.
58 minutes.
I thought it was a long 30 minutes.
Well, look, the stories kept rolling in. We needed to hear these. If you want to hear more stories, because she said she's got so many more stories, then I need you to comment below, share this video. This has been so phenomenal. As you can see, I'm thoroughly entertained, and I want to know more, so I need to come back here. But what I have found that since all my grandparents are gone, okay, I have no living grandparents, that I can't come over to Grandma's house and record her stories anymore. And unfortunately, we are forgetting. We are forgetting the past. We're forgetting how things were done in our family because I didn't ask enough questions.
That's right. I didn't ask enough questions. I've written 2 books. I've written books of my family. Both the Riddick book. There's this one.
Okay.
I've got 2. I did. And
this is all history.
So much fun. But as I was writing this one, That one, my sister, and they did the pictures. She and her husband, Lena and Buddy. But this one,
You gave it to your family.
oh yeah, we gave it to
Everybody?
Everybody, sure.
It says, living symbol of the strength of family. It's weathered a lot of storms, but still stands strong.
That's the picture at the Bronco Club. Isn't that pretty?
It is.
That's where we go right there. Can you look at that for a weekend?
I sure can.
It's just
The
beautiful.
water calls me often.
Well, that's just beautiful down there. It's just a perfect place for us to gather. Because that's where I spent a lot of time with my daddy fishing. Right there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's some more stories.
Yes. Now, are
My
these
optimist-
available for purchase, or they're?
No, nobody
Okay.
wants. Some people read them that are local because they
Want the
I got a lot
history?
of history
Stories.
in there. Mhm.
Well, we are going to finish up here. Like I said, I need you, if you know Gaynelle Riddick and you know you were one of the people on her tour buses, I need you to share this with people that knew of her, were on her trips. Comment below. Tell us a little memory. There's more to uncover here and to discover here. So I would love to do more stories with Gaynelle, but we need to hear from you if you want more from her too. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned for next week.
Bye-bye. It was great fun.
Bye-bye.
I love telling stories.